Good evening and welcome to the April 23rd regular City Council meeting. That D. Stiles. Elliott, will you please call roll?
Mayor Benjamin.
Present.
Councilmember DeLira.
Here.
Councilmember Fajarin. Councilmember Gaither.
Here.
Councilmember Guido.
Here.
Councilmember Parks.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
So Councilmember Fajarin requested to be excused for this meeting. So if I can entertain a motion.
Move to excuse.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. On to first announcements. Pullman's Transit Fall 2024 route and service level public forums are coming up. They're going to hold public forums on Wednesday, April 24th and Thursday, April 25th to solicit comments on the city's proposed Fall 2024 transit route and service levels. Forum times and locations have been chosen to provide the opportunity for arrival and departure via the city's transit system. The public forums will begin at 4:45 p.m. on April 24th and 8 a.m. on April 25th and will last 60 minutes. The public forums will be held at the Pullman City Hall Council Chambers. We are, as a city, looking for more applications for filling boards, commissions, and committees. We currently have openings on the Arts Commission, the Cemetery Committee, the Environmental Resilience Commission, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee, and Parks and Recreation Commission. If you're interested in applying, please apply at the city's website. For Parks and Rec, summer registration is now open, and if you have a chance to go through the registration book, it is a pretty fantastic, thick book. It's pretty amazing all the different offerings of things that you can do. You can also join the Senior Center on May 8th for a special tea. There'll be scones, sandwiches, decadent desserts, fresh fruit, and of course a variety of special teas, but you need to register by April 24th. And lastly, congratulations to Alpha Gamma Delta Sorority and Beta Theta Pi Fraternity for receiving Yard of the Semester Awards. The efforts you put into beautifying Pullman is definitely appreciated. With that, the next item on the agenda is community comments. This agenda item is an opportunity for the public to bring comments and concerns or other non-agenda item to the attention of elected officials. So this would be for any items that you'd like to bring that are not either on the consent agenda or one regular agenda item. With that, is there anyone that would like to provide community comment? So you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you, Lisa.
My name is Lisa Carloy. I'm at 1230 Northwest Haven Circle, and tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Pullman Civic Trust. So Pullman Civic Trust wants to thank you, Council, for being willing to explore the possibility of extending the plaza paver design across the sidewalk and to the new curb in order to preserve the fluidity and the connection between the plaza and Main Street. We applaud your request for more information from Welch-Comer so you can make an informed decision. I don't know what timeline information Welch-Comer will present tonight with respect to extending the pavers to the back of the bike lane or hopefully all the way to the new curb. But if it turns out that swapping the Pine Plaza paver pattern for the 8 patches of brickwork shown in the plans, if that will extend the timeline of the project, I hope that you will examine the details and explore options to mitigate the time extensions before deciding not to extend the pavers. The connection and the flow created by extending the plaza paver design into the sidewalk area is an important design feature that will be a unifying feature that ties the gems of downtown together. It's a small design change with a large-scale impact. So thank you for your consideration of this, and I look forward to hearing what information is presented tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
And do I give this to Mike for?
To D. Yeah. Is there anyone else who'd like to provide public comment?
Hi, Bobby Ryder, and I'm here actually speaking on behalf of myself. However, I did want to show some of the images that were in the handout that you received last week. So basically, I also want to thank the council and all the people that wrote letters and all those who spoke in support of Pine Street Plaza. Each of us has tried faithfully to follow the rules and procedures as explained to us. To say that it is cumbersome is somewhat of an understatement, but we have tried our very best to be partners and cooperators. We have done everything that we possibly could have done to exercise our rights and privilege as Pullmanites who care deeply about our community. I would like to move down to, a minute. Oh, it's now, oh, I know why. Okay, hold on. Grant me some latitude here. Okay. So this is what we are asking for. So I am asking council to support replacing the circular concrete pattern currently in the Pine Street Plaza, not because of Pullman Civic Trust. I am asking you to vote in support of the circular pavers because the plaza is the most successful and engaging outdoor space in the downtown, and because you also want an integrated result for the downtown. I believe that you do want to do what the people of this community want over what the consultant recommends because they will be gone in a year after the warranty and we live here. The council has one chance to get this right. The decision made about Pine Street Plaza will be with us for generations, certainly beyond my lifetime and yours. We know that Pine Street Plaza is successful. We know it attracts people from all walks of life. We know that it is a place that makes Pullman unique with its bridges, paving at the waterfall, paving at the depot and library. When you get to the circular pavers, you feel a sense of welcome and you can let your shoulders down. You feel like you can relax and breathe. It's a playful space where families build memories of being together. It's a contemplative space. It feels like the home that we all want and the home that some of us do not have. My ask is this: please show us that you heard us. Please use your position and the system with all its complications to help us. Please vote to work with us to replace all the concrete pavers and integrate Pine Street Plaza, the Riverwalk Waterfall, the Depot, the Neal Public Library as part of the bright and shiny new downtown. Bring us all into this inclusive and successful design. Thank you.
Thank you.
I still have a few minutes?
You have 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. So on the right side is the circular pattern, and on the left side is the straightened bike lane, and what we're asking for is Site B, and if possible, Site A, so that people in the audience can understand what we are looking at to do. Do I have any more time?
Your time's up now. Thank you.
Site A takes it all the way to the street, just as the current pavers go all the way to the street. So Site B is where the current pavers go all the way to the street right now. So we're only asking for a replacement. We're asking for a replacement of what we have and to carry the concept of what we have into the downtown. Thank you.
Is there anyone else to provide public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. And for that, on to council member comments. And with that, I'll start with Councilmember Parks.
I have no comments. Thank you.
No comment.
That's right. Councilmember Weller?
No comment.
Councilmember DeLira?
No comment.
Councilmember Gaither?
No comment.
With that, we'll move on to a City Council future regular agenda requests. Is there anyone that has a request for an agenda item to be placed on a future agenda? With that, we'll then move on to presentations. And we have 3 presentations tonight. It's good to have everybody here. The first one will be the Downtown Pullman Associate. Did I miss? I'm sorry. And that's where I paused because I realized I missed one. So for H is community comments on final action items in the agenda. And this has to do with agenda items that are the consent agenda and then our regular agenda, the one item there. Are there any community comments related to final action items on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll then move on to J, which is presentations. And with that, first up, we have Mallory Nash, Executive Director from the Downtown Pullman Association. And it's good to have you here.
Good evening. My name is Mallory Nash, and I'm the Executive Director for the Downtown Pullman Association. First, I'd just like to thank the City of Pullman and the Mayor and council members for giving me this opportunity to come and speak to you today about the really awesome work that we've done in the community this past year. And I'm really excited to share with you the updates and continue the collaborative efforts that we have both done. So today, what's on the agenda? I want to talk about DPA. So what is our mission, vision? What are we? Who are we? The why. And then I would also like to talk about our key achievements and what we did this past year, in addition to what we're planning on doing in the future. So, DPA, Downtown Pullman Association. So our mission is to create and sustain vitality in our historic downtown. And what we envision is a community, What we envision is that our downtown Pullman is the heart and soul of our community. And it is a place that connects us, fosters lifelong memories, and embodies the spirit of our shared identity. We're guided by our 4 values, which is to connect people and places, advocate for a district that's healthy, celebrate our community, and also create a welcoming place for all. Some of the programs and services that we offer, if you were to quantify it, it would be community events and gathering, public space activation and beautification, business engagement and support. Some of the things that I, like as an outsider, what I've learned is that folks don't know that we're a 501c3. And so that's something that's really important, is that we rely heavily on the community in terms of resources, time, talent, funding to help support us to meet our mission. We were founded in 2018 in April, so about 5 years we've been around. We're volunteer-led, so again, we rely heavily on our volunteers to help us meet our goals and objectives. And we also have 1 full-time staff, me. We're also 100% grant and donor funded, and this is something I'm going to expand on in a little while when we get to that slide. The other thing that's really significant about our organization is that we are a Washington Main Street affiliate, and we're also a member of the Main Street America network. And so what that means is it just opens up a lot of opportunity for our community to access resources, and also it's based on an approach that works, so the Main Street approach. So a lot of other questions that I get is like, who do we serve? Why are we here? Our communities or who we serve is our communities and people. And so at the heart of what we do is for the people. It's for the community, which, if you want to know who that is, it would be local residents, entrepreneurs, and small businesses, visitors and tourists, and then also community stakeholders, volunteers, and civic partners. So why Main Street? We know that it works. And I know that you all know it works because you have chosen to support us in this. One of the things that I want to provide is just highlight some data for you. These metrics are from the Washington Main Street Network's WSNSP, stands for Washington State Main Street Program. And it's from their 2011-2019 Impact Report. which included data from 36 of their Main Street communities. That is different than affiliates. We're an affiliate, so our data is not represented in this number, but once we are designated as a community, our numbers would be reflected in this. So the biggest piece to recognize with this is that we're seeing that it is implementing the Main Street approach is boosting local businesses, sales, and operations. It's also got a positive ROI on Washington State and cities. It has a strong return on investment, and it links Main Street impacts in terms of that community, economic, and fiscal standpoint. As a Main Street organization, Pullman gains a unique advantage in accessing funding, resources, and expertise to drive downtown revitalization and economic growth. So, yeah, that's all I have for that slide. But I think the data is really significant in telling that story of why Main Street is important. And it's almost, so it's a $1.58 return on investment. That's the other thing I think that's really important to note based on tax, back on tax revenues. So who all is doing this work? We have a lot of folks that are supporting our initiatives. We have a board of directors led by Judy Cold, who is the board president and sanctuary owner. Judy has been a huge asset for our community in terms of investment, leadership, connection. She's awesome. We love Judy. We also have all of these other great folks that are a part of moving our mission forward. And we just welcomed Bob Cady from the Coug to support our work as well. Lastly, I would like to also mention our committees. So we have folks that represent different expertise and interests. They bring their skills and resources and help us impact what you see in the downtown. Okay. Just a picture to show you. This is a few of them. A lot of the folks on this slide also are from this past year that we've added on since I've came on, which is awesome. We've got a lot of folks representing different organizations around town, and it's really awesome to see. This isn't even all of them, because some of them didn't want to give me a headshot. Okay, so the numbers. So in 2023, something that I think is really phenomenal is that we brought in $200,000 almost in total revenue. I think that's huge. That is such an incredible number for an organization like ours. What that reflects is partnerships from City of Pullman and also WSU. So thank you for supporting us and for investing in our downtown, because that number goes directly to supporting me and supporting the work that we're doing. We also received grants. The Affiliate Capacity Building Grant is something that we received because we're a Main Street organization, and what that and that's also reflected in our grants number, in addition to the USDA grant that Bobby Ryder secured for the Triangle Alley project, and then also a $5,000 grant that we got from the chamber. Also, we, this past year, fundraised about $37,000 in individual donations and project contributions. That number was a reflection of a 3-month campaign for the Riverside Mural Project in downtown Pullman, in partnership with the Pullman Arts Foundation. And that was one volunteer that just went, it's Bobby Ryder. She secured that too. And we're just super thankful for her work and getting funding for what we're trying to do. So what did we spend our money on? So I quantified this into two areas. So more than 50% of our revenue went towards programs and outreach to meet our mission. And I think that's awesome. So what you're seeing in the community and how we direct our dollars is visible impact. We hosted 13 different community events, averaging about 500 attendees each, which sounds small, but some of our events had about 2,500 total. That was the Downtown Vibes Trick or Treat, and then also the Downtown Vibes Lentil Fest Friday, which will both be returning this year. A really important thing about an organization like ours is being able to engage all of the districts collectively, all the businesses collectively in the district. And what that number for the engaging 33% of the district during events is out of 150, I don't know the math, I did this, but 33% of those were engaged during our events. And so I think that's really significant because we want that number to go up, but 33% is pretty significant in terms of who is signing up to help with the events that we're putting on, meaning businesses are opening their doors, they're staying open later, they're contributing some type of prize, those types of things. Additionally, we also spent about 46% on management and general expenses, which went to marketing, outreach, and professional services for downtown. It also ensured operational efficiency and day-to-day DPA functions, aka me. So another thing, this past year we did a survey in 2023 to collect some feedback from folks. We got about 416 responses, and I will say most of these were from university students, which we think is awesome because it increased and doubled once I reached out to a colleague at WSU, and they sent it out, and immediately the next day it was like 300 people had responded. So we were really thankful for that. So what's significant about this survey is that we can see by directly investing in our downtown, that aids and contributes to people's desire to stay in Pullman. So if they have a vibrant downtown, that contributes to attraction and retention of young talent that want to stay here and have a life here. Also, 83% stated that it's important that DPA provides events and activities in the downtown Pullman. I'd also like to note that we had about $70,000 of a total economic impact from the 60 volunteers. Please note that the 60 volunteers can be duplicated because we have a lot of folks that serve on multiple committees, but that time still counts, right? Because they're collectively, how much time are they dedicating to the organization? And that's the number, 2,160 total volunteer hours is what that number is, which when you put that into a calculation from the value of a volunteer hour, it's about $70,000 of an economic impact. So where I get that data is from the independent sector. They're an organization, best practice for nonprofits, and they're the best practice in terms of knowing that number, what that value dollar number is. And something really interesting that my slide doesn't reflect is today that number increased. So it was 31.80. Now it's 33.49. So $33.49 per hour for a volunteer. That's the value of their time. If you want the calculation, I can tell you later, but math stresses me. All right. Also, we have about 150 businesses in the district. Additionally, we worked with 20 plus different community collaborations last year. And what I mean by that is it's inclusive of like the Chamber of Commerce or Washington State WSUSAA, student government, and then Pullman Civic Trust. Like all of those different organizations, we are bringing to the table to talk about how do we drive engagement in downtown Pullman? How do we do really pretty murals in downtown Pullman? Those types of things. Additionally, we also had 3 key partnerships, which was WSU, City of Pullman, and the Chamber. Without their support, we would not be where we are today. So I really do want to make sure that y'all understand like how appreciative we are of that. We really do thank y'all for choosing to invest. The only other thing I'll point out is that we're doing really great on social. We do have a $60,000 social media reach, which is collective from our Facebook and Instagram. In addition, we also had about 12,000 website visitors. And then our email subscribers, which is mostly like our downtown businesses are mostly looking at that information, is about 300 with a 40, almost a 50% open rate, which is pretty cool. And I did the math on that too. So what I would like to highlight is in 2023, just the really awesome things that we did. It was a year of wins. So last year, it was a big success for us. We achieved awards, completed community projects, and formed partnerships that really made a difference. Some of the wins that I would like to share with y'all include the Black Cypress. So Nikki Foros was recognized as a finalist for the 2023 James Beard Award for Outstanding Hospitality. That really does set us apart as a community and just goes to speak that we have really incredible businesses in the downtown district. Additionally, because of our affiliation with Washington Main Street, we're eligible to recognize people in our district for outstanding commitment to downtown revitalization. And one of the first things that we did whenever I joined last year was a volunteer wrote a nomination for Rico's to win Legacy of Maine at Excellence on Maine Awards. And this was huge. Like, this was a big deal for our community to get this because out of all the other Washington Main Street programs, so cities and communities that are implementing this work like us, we got that award. Downtown Pullman Association, Downtown Pullman, Rico's got that. And I think that was awesome. Tawny got to go with us. You can see in the second picture, she got to go with me to the ceremony and be recognized, and she cried. Like, it was just such a beautiful moment to show that like her business is truly making an impact, and the whole state can see it, and actually the nation, because we're a part of a broader network. I've already talked about the mural. Also, I would like to highlight the mural on Judy Cold's building. That was something that she did with a local high school student to include her artwork on a building. And it's one of the first things you see when you drive into the downtown district. And doesn't it make the district just seem way more exciting and lively and beautiful as you enter? I just love that mural. Lastly, we celebrated a significant grant of $50,000 from the T-Mobile Hopetown grants. We were one of 25 organizations that were selected to receive this grant. And then we also received another additional $5,000 from Avista. That 55 will be going towards the 2024 dollars, which is why you don't see that number reflected in 2023. We celebrated in December, but we're spending in 2024. And that is going towards the downtown Pullman project with new street furniture, benches, and planters. Thanks to the city of Pullman, we got to collaborate on that. So what are we wanting to do in the future? As you can see at the top, the first three are our goals, overarching goals. So this is what we're doing. This is what we're about. We want to increase visitorship to downtown Pullman. We want to improve perceptions of downtown and also build our Main Street muscle. And I would actually say we want to continue to build our Main Street muscle because we really have already been doing this work, as you can see. And I'm just so proud of the work that the Downtown Pullman Association has done. So how are we going to make that happen? Well, some of the things that we do, and I think pictures are really, helpful in terms of being able to visualize what this looks like. But we do this through community events and engagement. Because we're a district-wide marketing, we are bringing people together and boosting foot traffic in local businesses. It creates opportunities for residents and visitors to connect and share their experiences. And the money that's spent at businesses during and after events supports downtown vitality and includes all of our quality of life. Additionally, this looks like district-wide promotion and marketing. What we're working to position downtown Pullman as a place that people want to come to. They want to spend their money. They want to sit and have a coffee outside. Our campaigns showcase our area as a welcoming place with diverse attractions, amenities, places to shop, dining options. Additionally, we facilitate downtown access and information. So we're focused on making downtown easy to navigate and enjoy for everyone, with clear information on things that are helpful in terms of like parking, shopping, dining, and amenities that improve accessibility. And then lastly, supporting businesses and building relationships. I do want to note that all of these things I just mentioned do go back to support the business, because overall, that's what our mission is for. We want to create and sustain vitality in the downtown. And supporting downtown business is crucial to meeting that mission. So we provide vital support such as grant writing assistance and networking opportunities to empower local entrepreneurs. And it strengthens relationships within our community. So to make this work possible, we rely on our relationships and connections within the community. And so by working closely with local businesses, government, community organizations, and other folks that want to see the downtown thrive, we're building a downtown that benefits everyone. Today, I really just want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the City of Pullman for their continued investment and support in downtown Pullman. Your commitment to revitalizing and promoting our downtown district aligns with both of our goals. And also, the partnership between City and DPA demonstrates a collective dedication to making downtown Pullman a thriving hub. Your investment in DPA underscores the importance of our downtown area as a vital economic and cultural center. And I just really want to thank you for ongoing support and commitment, and we look forward to continuing this work together. I meant to do the slides as I was talking, but I didn't. But that's it. So thank you. Do you have any questions?
With that, any questions? Councilmember Weller?
Mallory, you know, you've done such a phenomenal job, and I just want to say thank you for everything that you've really been doing. It's been a challenging year, I think, for all of us. So, and you have just outshined. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. I do have one question, so of course, start with the sweet. So I did have some questions from a few businesses regarding, you know, when we were looking at the downtown project, there had been some questions about fundraising efforts, GoFundMe campaigns, this sort of stuff. And as we all know, you know, the city can't really be the front on that. And from my knowledge, I think the chamber and yourself had kind of looked at that, but I would hope that you could kind of speak to that if there's any movement. If not, kind of, you know, walk me through that. But
Are you referring to folks contributing to a pool of money that would then go directly to the businesses in terms of cash?
yeah, something along those
Okay,
lines.
yeah. So what I would say is that has been a conversation that myself and staff from the City of Pullman have worked very closely to talk about. How do we implement something like this? We did look at a platform that could be really beneficial to identifying how to support downtown in terms of increasing revenue spending downtown. And I will say that whenever I brought it back to the Economic Vitality Committee, which, you know, at the heart of our mission is very much community empowerment. Like, we want our folks that are in the community to direct the initiatives and the projects that we're doing. And the committee didn't see that as a valuable way to spend our money at this time. So instead, we're choosing to do a survey where we're going to be sending it out to the downtown district and collecting feedback to understand what is it that our businesses actually need in terms of support from the Downtown Pullman Association. We don't have any data to tell us that right now versus word of mouth, which is great, but I want metrics and data that can help us to make informed decisions on the type of programming and events and opportunities that we provide to the district. We did some of that data with the survey for the community, so we know what the community wants to see. And then we have a baseline, right, so that we can measure that for next year whenever we implement that survey again. But our next step is to do that within our businesses to understand what they need.
Great, well, thank you, keep up the great work.
Okay,
Thank you.
Councilmember Parks?
Thank you. Thank you, Mallory. That was a great report. It really was.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, you know, you've been here about a year.
No, not yet.
Not
July.
quite. So just the
Yeah.
impact that you have made yourself personally is really, I mean, it's just been incredible with all the work that you've done in collaboration with Judy and the other board members. And being a member of the board, I see the work that goes on. And I just want to commend you for the energy that you bring. And I'd like you to explain just a little bit more for the public what becoming a Main Street community, what does that mean for our downtown? And what's a little bit of the timeline on that, please?
Yeah. So one thing that I want to mention on this community designation equals, it demonstrates, it's almost like an award or recognition, so to speak, that we are doing the work. And I really do believe that we are doing the work. We have, I mean, you can see from 2023, just from the data that we've shared tonight, how critical investing in our downtown is and the potential impact that it can have from an economic standpoint. We have to continue that momentum. We have to continue those partnerships, those collaborations, that investment to be able to get community designation. And it would be a result of the work that we're doing. We plan on submitting this July to go and we're going to be writing a application. So we get to tell that story, right, of what we're doing in our district, and that will then go to a committee at the Washington Main Street that will evaluate us based on criteria that there's 5 different types of criteria that we need to meet. And after that, we'll hear if we got community designation.
And so,
Oh, and what
sorts
that
of
equals,
things-
sorry.
What sorts of things then does that open up as far specifically for funding?
Yep. So one of the really unique things to Washington State is that business and occupation tax. So when we become a designated community, we would be eligible to receive funding from business and occupation tax. So what that looks like is that a business from anywhere in the state of Washington could donate or use their B&O tax to donate that to our organization, keeping our dollars local, in which the next year they would receive a 75% credit on their B&O tax. So it's a win-win, right? Like, I mean, that's a huge opportunity. And we're working towards it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Guido?
Thanks, Mallory, for a great report and for your work in less than a year. Didn't realize that you hadn't been here for that amount of time. Actually, Councilmember Parks did touch on the things that I was hoping you would talk about, particularly that tax credit for businesses, so that folks understand the importance of the receiving the designation. That will allow then that important tax credit that businesses can actually see a direct reason for the DPA to exist. I think that's still a little needed in terms of that story and helping people understand that that's something that we're driving towards, in addition to creating all of those events and the community feel and the great things that you're doing, keeping that in mind as an essential goal and continuing to prioritize that, I think, will be really important.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we're doing does go back to that overarching recognition. We want that 100%. In our work plans that we implement and all the goals, strategies, tactics are framed so that we can get there. And so I feel good about our application going into July. But like I said, it's not up to us. They will evaluate us, and it's us to tell the story, and we have a good story.
And I recognize too that it's a process, right? That all of these things that you're doing are going to support that application. So you have to build the framework and the foundation first.
Yep.
In order to be recognized, and it's so critical that you receive a partnership from both the city and WSU to ensure that that's happening.
Yep.
And you need continued volunteer
Yep.
support. So those are critical factors in
Yeah.
order to make that application successful. So it's not all just on you. It's got to be.
It's a community-wide effort.
It absolutely is. And we have neighbors down the road who are doing it quite well in Colfax.
Yeah,
And
they are.
I know you've established a good partnership with them, and how important that is to understand how they're doing it and not recreate the wheel.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of data or tools in our toolbox, right, that we can use because we're a part of a network that has already done it. This is definitely something that's on topic a lot.
Thank you. Councilmember Gaither?
Yes, Councilmember Parks and Councilmember Guido had already asked my question, but I just want to, also say that I think you're doing fantastic work, and kudos to your entire committee for the work that they're doing, creating these lasting initiatives and progress. I just want to say that these projects, the pictures that you posted, the projects and the initiatives, whether large or small, they're making a difference. They're demonstrating that things are happening, right? Getting that energy flowing. And I think we really need that during this time. So I hope you continue to do that. I really like that you also send out those surveys and questionnaires. You're getting the community attitude, getting the feedback from the students. I think that's
huge,
important.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we're partners in this revitalization process. And kudos to your committee and the work you're doing, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. I do want to mention that a lot of this work was already done before me. So a lot of this work is as a result of the community, and I'm really just the person telling it. So I do appreciate the feedback, but I do want to make sure that I shine the light back on the people that are doing the work, because really I'm just a person helping to connect. That's it.
Great. With that, thank you very much.
No more questions?
No?
Okay. The only other thing I want to say is on May 30th, which is a Thursday morning, Mayor Benjamin, you'll be there to speak for our State of Maine annual meeting, and that will be when we present this to the public, in addition to doing some networking and things like that. So we would love for y'all to attend. It's from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. at the Gladys Cultural and Community Center.
Thank you. So our next presentation, we have council, that starts a council member, so instead Executive Director Deanna Bren with the United Way of Whitman County.
We lost our screen. Let's see if there we go. Awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me to come here tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet all of you and to be able to present to you the work of the United Way of Whitman County. So when I met with Francis last summer, I asked him some hard questions about what he knew about United Way and how we could clarify our mission. And so I'm hoping that this will answer some of his questions. So why the United Way? Well, our mission is to build relationships that unite us in purpose. We envision a thriving community where individuals and families achieve their highest potential through education, income stability, and healthy lives. Those are our three primary pillars. And we work tirelessly to undergird our community partners who work on the front lines to ensure services for all individuals. Our community partners are other partner nonprofit agencies in the Pullman area. So what exactly do we do? Well, we continue the purpose that we were founded for here in Pullman in 1929, along with the Chamber of Commerce. We were the community chest, and our goal was to ensure that funds that were donated to help through the Depression stayed here locally, to help local organizations, nonprofit organizations, to support our neighbors that were in need. And we're continuing to do that each day. We raise awareness and develop funding so that our partner organizations can focus on the personal needs of the individuals that they serve. We know and are aware that all nonprofits in the area have very small staff ratios compared to the people that they serve, and we want to support them any way we can. And then in the last few years, we've also taken up the charge of the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, and through a volunteer effort, we place books into the hands of children birth to age 5. One of our tenets is to focus on childhood readiness. This is an actual picture of a student at Community Child Care Center. And so we provide funding for these great organizations, Boost Collaborative being one of them, and we partner with them specifically to help them with evaluations and intervention for infants with disabilities who are just coming in for that first visit, first evaluation, so that those parents can get help and be connected and have their child seen as soon as possible. We work with Community Child Care Center, which has a number of child care centers throughout Whitman County, and we help them provide infant care and even services for pregnant women, ECAP, and Head Start. Our longest partner is the YMCA of the Palouse. We've been partners with them since our inception, and we help them provide funding for their before and after school program at the 5 elementary schools here in Pullman, also for spring break and summer to support working families who really need that opportunity to have childcare from early in the morning to late in the afternoon and during those breaks. With the Palouse Discovery Science Center, we really work to provide a new opportunity for children to learn STEM and arts resources in education, because we know that education goes far beyond reading and writing and arithmetic. It's, you know, how our brains are built, and hitting those early ages is so important. We also have the tenet of income stability, and how exactly does that work? Well, we serve what is called ALICE, and ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. And you might think in a really affluent county like Whitman County that we wouldn't have so many people that fall into that category, but you'd be very surprised, because unlike the federal poverty level, United for Alice, which is data that United Way Worldwide collects for every pocket community all over the world, it really focuses on what is the cost of household survival. So your rent or your mortgage, basic food, childcare, healthcare, cell phone costs, and transportation. So it's different than the federal poverty level, and you'd be surprised to find that over 18,000 households in Whitman County fall into that level. 54 is the current percentage, and the new numbers are coming out in May. And it's very surprising that a lot of that population is our elderly. So we really work to serve these people, and one of the tenets that we took upon the allocations committee last year was to really step up and partner with Family Promise of the Palouse, and we allocated $10,000 as supplementary rental assistance for Whitman County residents. Now, what does that mean? That means that they're able to provide training and rental assistance, and then partner with landlords who may not have partnered with these particular clients in the past, and give them really safe, secure, sustainable housing, and then train those families what that means. You know, like, how do you budget, and how do you take care of a rental so that you can stay in it long term. We also focus on healthy lives, and there's a lot of different ways that means. It can mean mental health challenges or substance abuse, or even helping those who are aged or maybe disabled. So we provide funding for Circles of Caring, the Council of Aging and Human Services through COAST. Last year, we partnered with COAST with a match fund to help provide a new transportation system for them. Palouse River Counseling, and they come to us for 2 separate grants, both for that mental health and substance abuse. With the Pullman Community Gardens, so that they can have a disability center there in the gardens. And for the Pullman Schools Food Pantry, they were a new 301c3 who came to us last year. And we are really happy to partner with them because they're really doing very essential work within the school to help with food insecurity. It's not going anywhere. Let's try this. There we go. So these are our partner agencies last year. We allocated $100,000 last spring to these different partner agencies. We actually just rolled out our allocations community grant application onto our website last week. It's live, and so different nonprofits will apply for that funding. Now, this is not the only funding that the United Way of Whitman County oversees. We also have access to FEMA funding because United Way Worldwide has a contract with the federal government to provide that funding, and then we are the administrators of that funding. So, for example, last week I was busy meeting with what's our local board for national FEMA funding to allocate funds for phase 40 of that funding, and we were able to give Alternatives to Violence of the Palouse $4,000 in funding, and the Council on Aging in Colfax $15,000. And we do that with a really, really tiny administration cost of about $300. So it's a great opportunity for us to really support our local agencies. And then this next week, we'll go into phase 41 funding, and we'll be giving away another $20,000 with that. So a lot of you want to hear about our own childhood readiness program with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So we founded that here in Whitman County in April of 2022, and it's grown to serve, actually the number changed today to 56% of Whitman County youth birth to age 5, and that's really incredible because most of the Dolly Parton Imagination Libraries anticipate being at about 60% after 5 years, and we're, 2 years and already, pulling on that really closely. We're serving 882 children actively, and that means they're birth through age 5. We've got about 225 graduate kids. So over 1,000 Whitman County readers, and we've mailed almost 15,000 books to date in 2 years. So that's pretty phenomenal. We do it with volunteer staff. I have 2+ now, actually about 4 really good volunteers who really help with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And we raise the funding separately, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, there we go. I thought I'd share this as kind of a fun photo. So this young infant is our youngest pre-reader. Griffin was born on the 18th of March, and one of my volunteers was actually processing the registrations that day in the back office of the foundation, and noticed the date and sent an email to the parent saying, this can't be right because the day says today. And the parent responded, oh yeah, it's right. The baby was born at 9 a.m. and by 1 p.m. he was already registered with the Imagination Library of Whitman County. So a very, very fun story. I reached out to the mom. She said she'd share a photo. This is her 4-year-old daughter And this was the book that she'd gotten that week. And she was super excited to read that book because her grandpa was going to be at home that night to read to. And so the mom sent this great photo. The mom has a degree in literature, and she is so thrilled with what the library offers. So it's super easy. It's no respecter of, income. Anyone can enroll their child from 0 to age 5. And the goal is to really provide books, a library in the home, because it does make a long-term difference on education. Still not get that to work. So I know you're going to want to know, well, what does this all cost? And we're very fortunate because in the state of Washington, the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction is committed to this program. They really believe in the value of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library in providing these books in people's homes. So they've stepped up to the plate and they help provide for 50% of our funding. And that is a commitment until June of 2025. There was a shortfall in the legislature a little bit, but our Washington our Washington Dolly Parton Imagination Library has really assured us that all affiliates are not going to be impacted by that they're going to make up that shortfall. So the cost of books, postage, and handling for us so far has amounted to about $32,666. Well, it goes up every month, I'm sorry. It's about $2.21 a book that we raise in order to have these books delivered to each family free of charge. And like I said, we're paying 50% of the cost now, and the Office of Superintendent is paying the other 50%. That may change in a couple of years. We're looking at how we can continue to fund that for the long haul, but it's been a great opportunity. I don't think I have another, I don't have another slide on that, but I did want to just tell you a little bit about really the impact of those books being in people's homes. So children in 21 Whitman County cities and towns are currently receiving books. That's all the way from Albion to Hooper to Steptoe, Uniontown, Tico, Roselia. And we as Whitman County United Way have been in all of those locations. We go out and we table at all of their events. It's great fun. It's great fun to meet people in those small communities and be part of whatever special event they're doing and register their children to receive books in their home. It's just also a really good time to connect with people and see what's happening throughout our county. So according to a 20-year study conducted by sociologist Evans at the University of Nevada, Reno, having as few as 20 books in the home has significant impact on propelling a child to a higher level of education. And the more books you add, the greater the benefit. It's quite a good return on the investment, said Science Daily. It's also been proven that each child that has 25 books in their home as a preschooler, they can actually determine their reading level by grade 3, which is a determinant on whether or not they will graduate high school. So it really does have a huge impact. If a child is registered with the DPIL program shortly after birth, they will have at least 60 books in their personal home library by the time they reach the age of 5. And then they get the book that's I'm on my way to kindergarten. I can't remember the exact title of it, but it's kind of cool because we've also had a story of a teacher who said she could tell every child who had heard that book. She reads it the first day of school. And there were kids in there that obviously got the book through the DPIL, and they knew it by heart. So it's kind of fun to hear those stories. Also, United Way of Whitman County partners with local hospitals, such as Pullman Regional and Whitman Hospital. That's why that infant was registered the first day, because they receive a registration form in their birth packets. We partner with Child Care Center, civic groups, libraries, businesses, and parents and grandparents and aunts to register children. We actually do have a really fun partnership with all of our library systems, and the Whitman County Library has their own dolly that they rotate around with a scan bar so that families that come into the library can register their child and then get books in their home themselves. Some of our funding sources, thank you for reaching out and asking that question, include the Meter Foundation, which gave us a grant last year of $6,000, Pullman Rotary Club, Pullman Kiwanis, Daystar Renewable Energy, which is a new grant that we received, and the Women's Leadership Guild, plus individual donations from people who are passionate about reading, like Anne, thank you, and others in the community who have really taken up the charge to fund this expanding library system. Since you asked that question, I thought I would tell you a little bit about our funding for United Way of Whitman County in general. So we have been around for a lot of decades, and for a number of decades, the majority of our funding was done through what is called the kind of employee participation. It's a direct deposit from an employee into their paycheck that comes to us, and a very small percentage. And I'm sure that all of you have been around, you know, when the United Way was in its heyday, and there was a lot of, you know, collaboration for people to sign up on their paycheck and contribute. The sad thing is that we've kind of seen a slow downward trajectory of that, along with most United Ways across the nation. So we've looked at other ways that we can try to, you know, build our foundation and keep it strong. We have some corporate partnerships here in the area. Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories is a large cornerstone of our funding every campaign year. This past year, they gave us $30,000, and that's really essential for keeping us operating. Jeff and Angie Fernstein, along with Values and Vision, is another one of our important donors and longtime partners. WSCCU, through the Community Days of Caring program, also funds us, and that money is split with the United Way in Moscow and Latah County. So we write grants. I write a number of grants. I wrote the first grant we'd written for a long time for Bank of America. We're also writing to Walmart and O'Reilly. We get contributions from family foundations like Avista, the Irwin Family Foundation, and Washington Trust. There are individual and corporate donors, such as Devin Felstead, Matthew Root, Sandra Woodward, our previous ED, and past board members and current board members. We also get gifts in kind. We did our first really signature fundraiser this past February, and Frank down at Scoozy's, which, you know, downtown, go, they are amazing, provided all of our food and catering free of charge. So, you know, we can't say too much for those businesses that really come alongside and partner with us and really do a lot of good work. And it's not just for us, they do it for so many. It's amazing how generous our community is and our businesses in the area. We're really focusing on volunteerism and on starting to try to add value to our community partners, the agencies that I showed you in the previously. We currently have 11 partner agencies. We're hoping to build that. We want to continue building relationships with government entities and small and large businesses, and really growing the power of volunteerism in our community, and organizing some new opportunities, not just with our Community Days of Caring, but over a quarterly period of time. So, do you have any questions?
With that, thank you for the presentation. And
Thank you.
I mean, United Way has a wide reach and a long history. If I think back, I think it's 95 years ago was when the Pullman Community Chest was started, that has morphed into the that moved into the United Way. So there's a long history of the impact that you've had on our community. With that, Councilmember Parks.
Thank you. Thank you, Deanna. That was wonderful. I have a lot of connections with United Way as a past board member and helping get the Dolly Parton Imagination Library going, and so thrilled to see those numbers. That's really impactful, and to know that it just goes all over the county, not just in Pullman, not just in Colfax, but it's hitting our whole county is wonderful. As an employee of Alternatives to Violence, we did fall off the partnership wagon last year due to some reorganization of our organization, but I know that in United Way, though, we have received those FEMA grants, and they are wonderful. And the wonderful thing about United Way funds is they are unrestricted, which if anyone works for a nonprofit, they appreciate what that means. That means that we can really use those funds for things that don't slot into grant funding, but is still a vital need of one of our clients specifically. So we do appreciate that. And you mentioned about how some people give monthly. You can give monthly, and you can designate your giving, which is what I did with mine, was to make sure it goes to Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So I wanted to mention that if people are interested in that, you can say it can go to the general fund, or it can go toward the Malden Pine Creek recovery, which you didn't really talk about that, but United Way of Whitman County was a had a major impact on that community's recovery, and many people worked toward that, and that is just amazing.
They raised $500,000 towards that
yes
project, and it's run as its own nonprofit, which is fabulous. But we still have a little piece in that. We're still sitting on the last payment for the playground equipment that will be installed this spring. So you'll be hearing from us when that's actually unveiled,
and just lots of
that'll be
volunteers
nice.
right at the very beginning, sitting at the table with the people in Malden and Pine City. It was really something. So thank you for everything that
You're
United Way
welcome.
does.
You're welcome. And you'll be glad to hear that Alternatives to Violence of the Blues already applied for their grant. They were the first one.
I did check on that. I was like, so? She's like, yes, it's done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Wright.
Thank you. Great presentation. Really appreciate all of the information. Just something a little anecdotal, and it's related to Alternatives to Violence. I was the president of United Way at the time that ATVP first came on as a member agency, and the allocations board had to talk them into asking for more money. So, I mean, they are such a valuable asset to this community, and, they can't do enough for the community, and so it's great to know that we're able to kind of keep them going. So thank you for having them come back in.
You're welcome.
Just for all of our viewers and those that might be listening tonight, how do people register for the Imagination Library? Do they go into their local library and do that, or what's the best vehicle to do that?
They can do that. They can really easily do it on our website, which is whitmanunited.org. And they can go straight to, there's a Dolly Parton Imagination, it just says Imagination Library tab. And they go on that, and the first thing that's going to come up is the form to register. And they can register any child that's between 0 and 5 years old to receive those books. Even if they don't live right in our county, they can use that form, and then it'll kick it to the correct county if there's a program there.
Okay, great. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Continued success.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Heidi yesterday registered our granddaughter who's in Michigan. So yes, it does. it goes wherever that it's offered. With that, thank you very much, Deanna. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
So next up, we have Welch-Comer Downtown Pullman Project Update. And first off, we have Matt Gillis, who's Vice President of Welch-Comer.
Man behind the curtains starting it for me. Good evening, Council. Mr. Mayor, Matt Gillis, Welch-Comer, with my colleague Courtney Kramer. We're happy to be here. We're excited to be here because, as you know, we've taken a big step. We're going to go through just a quick project update for you, show lots of pictures. Feel free to ask questions. But as you know, we're underway. We're underway out there. We really appreciate those of you who were able to attend the groundbreaking. And we also appreciate Apollo, the contractor, who brought us in some props. So we looked like we were working out there. So we all appreciate that. Right out of the gate, before we really demoed or demolished anything or removed anything, we restriped the parking on Olson. And I see a lot of heads nodding. That's been very, very popular. In fact, we've heard multiple times, can you just leave this as permanent? And yes, that's the plan. It's to leave it in place, to go from parallel parking to angle parking. And so that was a win right out of the gate, I think. Before we got started, we were able to address some of the parking challenges downtown. As I'd mentioned in the weeks and months leading up, that first week, and hopefully you remember, the first week of construction is always the hardest, and that rang true. From a traffic control standpoint, drivers are changing habits, people don't know where to go, and even today, our traffic control strategy is evolving. We react when we need to. And so I think the team has done a pretty good job getting things in place and continuing to dial it in. I wanted to give a little bit of credit to Apollo, who, when they removed the asphalt on Main Street, they were just required to leave one place to cross Main Street, but they left all the crosswalks in place. They're buying into the project, so all the crosswalks are in place. It won't get to stay forever. At some point, it'll be removed when we start doing utilities in the coming weeks. We're also working on trying to get pedestrians across Paradise a little bit easier. We're hearing concerns, and again, this is going to go on the entire project. We'll be flexible in making changes. All the business signs are in place, all the detours are in place, and we're off and running. What have we been up to? So hopefully you've been down to the site, and right now it looks like a whole lot's happening every single day, and it is. As you know, we removed the trees. We came in and adjusted all the utility lids downward so that we can bring in the big asphalt grinding machine so it could grind up the asphalt. And most of it doesn't look like this. Most of it's ground into almost gravel size because it's a valuable resource. Asphalt's very, very valuable. So the city was able to get some of their trucks in that line and take some of those tailings. I'm not sure where they ended up, but they're stockpiled and can be used for dust control and alleys and temporary parking lots and those types of things. So really what we've been doing up to this point primarily is demolition work and the traffic control setup. Over the next 3-4 weeks, we'll continue to do some removal, primarily in the curb and a lot of the existing brick pavers out there. We'll leave most of the sidewalk in place as long as possible, but our primary focus will go from demolition to utility installation. And so it could very well look like there isn't much getting done because we're not tearing out lanes of asphalt at a time and removing furniture and all this, but rest assured, there's a lot of work going on underground. And remember, this is a major utility infrastructure project. So that orange widget right there, I wanted to show this because this is a sewer bypass pumping system that will allow sewer service to remain in place for all the users throughout the duration of the install, unless we get some surprise. So people will be able to flush their toilets, run their dishwashers, all those things, while that new main line and the services are being installed. So that's a good thing for commerce. The thing about a downtown project that's got decades and generations of pipes and stuff happening is there's always surprises. Every single day, there's a surprise. Right out of the gate, and I'll just share 3 quick ones. Right out of the gate, we had our our temporary signal installed at Paradise and Grand, because remember, we changed to two-way. Well, we had a food truck hit that traffic signal, like day 3 or day 2. But to city staff's credit and the contractor, they got right on it, worked together, got it back online, and got stabilized. It wasn't just one signal, it was both of our signals were hit. So that was a surprise. This isn't a great picture. I don't know if you can see it real well, but this is a shot straight down in a trench. Routinely, we're finding utilities that are either not exactly where we thought they were horizontally or vertically or the size, or there's mystery pipes that we come across and we have to determine what they are before we know if we can cut through them. And so that takes time, a lot of collaboration with the contractor, our staff, and city staff, and it's been good. And then we find just strange things like an existing stormwater catch basin where rainwater is supposed to go in, but we have a gas line going right through the middle of it. We don't do that anymore. So when we come across things like this, we clean it up. So surprises every day, but that's not a surprise. The surprises are not a surprise, and we'll be encountering this throughout, and that's great. Parking, we're able to and have been monitoring downtown parking multiple times a day through wandering around. We have a construction camera. If you visited the project website, we have a construction camera that we're able to look at certain things. And the city's ad hoc Transportation and Parking Committee is also monitoring the parking. We're working pretty close on making adjustments as needed. At this point, generally speaking, we're seeing lots of parking available. We'd like to see it fill up so more people are downtown, but we currently don't have at least from my perspective, a major parking problem yet, other than you can't park on Main Street, obviously. So any questions on the technical part of construction? Because I'm going to turn it over to Courtney, and she's going to talk about the outreach efforts, which have been pretty aggressive. And I'm happy to come back up to it at the end.
Good evening, counselors. Courtney Kramer, Public Involvement Specialist for Welch Comer Engineers. It's a pleasure to be here in Pullman on this beautiful spring evening with you. I also want to thank Adam Ratliff, who's in the audience. He's been a great partner for us as we have really taken your direction to provide a more robust and, dare I say, aggressive public engagement strategy. It's been helpful to have Adam on board. This is the most proactive public engagement approach that we've used on a project of this scope, and I really do think that we're breaking new trail for projects in downtown communities. Before I get too far into it, I also want to thank Councilor Weller for letting us borrow some of the great photographs that he took of the project site as the traffic control went up. Mine were not as scenic, so they're nice to use. Thank you. With that, I will talk as well. Before I get going, I also want to thank some of our public engagement partners. It's really a pleasure to work in a community where there are so many existing communication delivery systems that are willing to let us, frankly, mooch off of what they have in place. And so I do want to name those people: Mallory at the Downtown Pullman Association, Marie and Madeline at the Pullman Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, Matt and Haley at WSU Pullman, and Tate at the WSU Visitor Center. We got together a couple of weeks ago and I demanded that they take a selfie because these community members have been helping us in ways that have been really important, so I wanted to thank them for their assistance. One of the things that having these folks on board allows us to do is to amplify the messaging. Usually what happens is we develop a message. Frequently it begins on a Project Downtown Pullman platform, and then it's reshared by WSU Pullman, WSU Athletics, the Downtown Pullman Association, or something like that. And thanks to those partnerships, we were able to provide information specifically to families in town for WSU Spring Family Weekend. We're planning the same approach to folks who will be in town for the Cougar Classic Golf Tournament this week, or who might be bringing an RV for the spring football game this weekend, to let them know of alternative detour routes to get an RV up to the RV lots off of Stadium Way. We want to see those community members downtown. We don't want to see their 45-foot RV high-centered somewhere on Paradise Street. So we want to see them downtown. We don't want to see them stuck downtown. So we're really grateful for those partnerships. We're also working with WSU to provide information to students who have registered for commencement on May 4th, and also thanks to an introduction from WSU's team, working with the University of Idaho to provide the same information in advance of their commencement on May 11. So some of the things you'll see coming up, the Pullman Chamber of Commerce held the front page of the community update for this project. They've been actually sitting on that for about 18 months. And so that publication will come out here in the next couple of weeks. And that's great to have that partnership, because that document gets to, I think, 14,000 people in the community, many of whom might not be on the digital platforms that we've been leveraging with this project. I want to talk a little bit about the types of communication we're providing, and then I'll get into some of the more specific details. There's really two buckets of what we're doing here. The first bucket is for the general public. It's construction project, it's what to expect, communications, it's topical stories. We have some really fun stories to tell with a project. You don't end up with a 140-year-old downtown without some random stuff that's going to come out of the ground, and we're going to tell those stories. And every one of those outgoing emails includes a reminder to support local businesses. The way that it works is often that information will start as an email. It'll be shared there on our website. I've pointed out in yellow where a community member can register to receive our e-newsletter on our website, and then all of them are also archived if somebody wanted to go through and reread them or find information. I am really just in awe of the fact that we have about 400 recipients of our general public e-newsletter. 60% of those recipients came to the website and signed up. They were not people that we added to it. And our open rate is 70%, which is outstanding. And that's really exciting, and it's a big credit to the team, the project, the quality of the project, and it's just an exciting project to be a part of. E-newsletter gets shared again out onto our social media platforms, and then also via the texting service. I want to talk a little bit about the information we're providing to property and business owners. Obviously acknowledging anything that we send via email is effectively public information. But it's important that the property and business owners know a little bit more detailed information about what to expect this week and what to expect next week. We will start to communicate very directly about upcoming impacts to sidewalks or water service as we get into more of the utility work in the project late in the next 6 weeks or so. And so we will make sure that property owners and business owners are not caught unawares. They know what's going to happen. They know how to communicate with us if they run into a problem. I would say that we had really great communication and partnerships with our business owners as that traffic control went into place. It's a culture here on the Palouse that, hey, listen, when there's work to do, everybody just pitches in and does it. And so it was really satisfying to be part of a team that was out, if we got to move a barricade, we're going to move a barricade. You grab one end, I'll grab the other end. We're just going to fix the situation rather than overthink it. So that's been nice to see. And our property and business owner e-newsletter, that goes out kind of right on the heels of the general public one, and the information builds on each other. That has a slightly lower open rate, but it's also bolstered by walk-in visits from either Welch-Comer staff or Apollo staff as we, gather information or have something to troubleshoot with someone. I do want to reiterate that this project is a once-in-a-generation, maybe more, transformative project for this community. We're really grateful to be a part of it and excited about the outcome. You can believe that I have thoughts in my head about the ribbon-cutting ceremony already. And we look forward to getting there this fall, and just that downtown Pullman remains open for business. I can take any questions about the public engagement, and Matt and I can triage any other questions you might have.
So with that, questions? No. So Carla, Councilmember Delera?
I guess more on the public engagement. How frequently are the walk-in visits to businesses?
We're not tracking them in any sort of data system, but I would say that we're in and out of a business at least twice a week as a larger team. I'm laughing, remembering one day when a business owner was like, "You guys have been in here 4 times today. I have to get some work done. Please quit bothering me." And we're like, "Okay, sorry. I will just, like, we need a little marking system on the door or something."
Our parking code enforcement officer can help you with that marking. Councilmember Guido?
Courtney, thanks for the update, and I'm really pleased to see the effort that's gone into this and the consistency, and that it's paying off, and people are excited and want to know what's going on, and your open rates are proving that, and being strategic about it, leveraging what the partnerships that are here, working with, of course, WSU and those communication professionals. So well done, and keep it up.
Thank you. I forgot, it was in my notes. The first week of construction, Adam and I were just walking a sidewalk, and somebody said, "Hey, you're those people that keep sending me stuff about this project." They recognized Adam. I'm less memorable, but it was really, they said it was great. And I want to share that because your direction enabled our team to take that ball forward. So thank you for giving us the reins and the leash, and whatever other metaphor I should use to describe. But we really appreciate this opportunity and feel like it's going well, and certainly open to constructive feedback as well.
Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Courtney, Matt, Adam, I got to say, I know everything from the journey of the trees to, everything, the downtown, the businesses, it has been like a Lord of the Rings type of situation. And you all have been carrying the ring, and just one step in front of another, and you've gone through a lot. And I will say, and I see Adam being Mr. Positive out there. I always appreciate that. I know at the beginning I was kind of like questioning, gosh, I don't know, with the trees, and we had a lot of conversations. Now it's kind of to the point where when people either get down on you all or Adam, I get kind of defensive. I think I was kind of born as a protector, and I get kind of defensive when I hear some of that stuff, because I do see how much effort all of you have put into it. And I just want to say thank you so much, and keep carrying that ring. We'll see it through, so thank you.
Councilmember Wright?
As always, you guys have done a great presentation, and it's just a pleasure to work with you on every level, as Nathan indicated. I would be remiss if we didn't mention something, however, about Apollo. And they have been fabulous partners. And I sought them out one day because I had gotten so many positive comments about them that I went to the office, and a couple of guys were coming out, and I said, "Is anybody left in there?" No, what is it that you need? I said, "I just want to share that we've gotten all kinds of great positive reinforcement about what you're doing." And he said, "That's awesome, we love to hear that, but we also want to hear when we're not doing so well." And so, and everything that I've heard from the people that they visit daily, they can't say enough good things about them. So that really validates that we did make a very, very wise selection with Apollo. So thank you for your part in that as well.
Councilmember Delera?
Yeah, is it okay if I ask other questions outside of the scope of?
So anything else on the community engagement piece?
All right.
If not, then
Thank you.
Councilmember Delera?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm sorry, I went straight into the questions because I'm very curious about a lot of things. But I do appreciate your presentation, your work on the downtown project. But as you know, there's a lot of passion and organizing around the Pine Street Plaza. And one of the things I would like to know is just providing more detail on why the Pine Street design change, aka Comment 8, was proposed to be a 2-week project instead of what we've been hearing from community members, be more like a 1 or 2 day timeline to complete the whole project. And then the other thing I would like more information, as detailed as possible, is like the previous evaluation, the rhetoric behind the 20K to 30K evaluation on the Pine Street Plaza design change. And I know those, I'll start with those 2 questions.
Great questions, and I think I'm pretty much prepared to directly answer that. And so I'm going to go through a few slides, and if you have questions, we'll hammer them out. So before I get into any numbers at this point, I wanted to make sure that the council was just very clear on what the base design or the current design is and what the design requests are. And forgive me if you know this, but just to be clear. So north in this case is up, Pine Street Plaza is in the green here, and this is the Pine Street intersection. So these are to represent buildings, okay, over here and over here. So the current design, generally speaking, is Pine Street is in line with the building faces, okay? So Main Street is Main Street, Pine Street Plaza is Pine Street Plaza, okay? And we'll get into opinions here in just a second. So if you watch the green here, option B is extending this is the request of people in the community to extend those pavers to the north side of the proposed bike lane, okay? We'll call that option B. Option C, again, watch the green part, that's to extend it slightly more south down to the proposed curb. And remember, the proposed curb isn't anywhere near the existing curb, okay? We're getting a lot narrower in here because we're at 2 lanes wide, okay? So, any questions on that? I just want to show the distinction there. Go ahead.
And then I don't know if you could, I know we're talking about extending the pavers. When we're doing the evaluation, is it based on, is the pricing based on the clay pavers or concrete pavers, since the concrete pavers have been the type that community members want to see? So,
understood, and I will answer that.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's work your way through, and then we can ask questions.
So there is certainly room for design opinion, and I respect others' opinion of the design. But in the case of these 3 designs, this was, you hired a consultant team to give you advice. That consultant team, which is multiple engineers, multiple landscape architects, and land planners, felt that the design as shown, option A, is the preferred design, okay, for lots of reasons. Again, there can be other opinions of the design, and that's, I get it. So, but before we get into the costs, I just want to show, so these are the same pictures. So we've got 3 columns here. Option A, as designed. Option B, we extend the pavers to the bike lane. Option C, we extend the pavers to the new curb, right? That's the difference right there, okay? Now there's a nuance here. There's an extra variable, okay? Anywhere where we are doing pavers, clay or concrete, otherwise, in the Main Street corridor, we are first installing a concrete rat slab, okay? That concrete rat slab essentially eliminates the risk of the paver settling, because pavers are notorious for settling, especially in clay and silt like you have on the Palouse. Very difficult to build on. Frankly, the city has been pretty fortunate not to have major problems in Pine Street Plaza settling, in the existing plaza. That was constructed well. What we desperately want to avoid is we already have tripping hazards all up and down Main Street, and we don't want to walk away, build a new project, come back a year later, and we have settling issues. So I won't do this, but I'll almost pound my fist on the table and recommend that any pavers we do, any more pavers that we do, if you do them, you've got to have a rat slab, okay? We don't want settling. So there's different costs. So if we go and we look at how much does, let me back up one step. I watched the previous council meeting and you asked as a group for, we want to know if we entertain these design options, how much does it cost us in money and time, okay? So that's what I'm going to address right now because that's what you've asked for. Option A, as you would expect, there's no increase in time, okay? Because that's what we've designed, that's what's under contract. If we extend the pavers to the bike lane, and before I show this, these are not Matt's prices. Matt's prices were, I estimated low early because we needed a number quickly, and I estimated low, frankly. These numbers, both in time and money, are directly from the contractor. So if you want to do this work, this is what it's going to cost, just to be clear. That's the best source of information we have is the contractor. So pavers only, and these are the concrete pavers, right, to match what's up there. In fact, we're trying to utilize the existing pavers. And in option B and option C, we're going to run out of existing pavers, okay? Because what's there now is less area than what these options are. Hope that makes sense. So you'd have to supplement it with something else, which is going to be a different color. So anyways, pavers only, $41,000, and it's a week or two increase in the overall schedule, okay? Pavers with a rat slab, it stands to reason that's going to be more expensive. We've shorted up with some concrete, $76,000 in additional cost, okay? Option C, we extend all the way to the curb, $75,000 with a 2-week increase. And I failed to mention the increase on option B with the rat slab, between 2 and 3 weeks of increased time. Option C with the rat slab, which I highly recommend that you would need to do, is $140,000 and about a month increase. Okay, now, full disclosure, that doesn't mean it's a month or a week or 2 weeks increase in vehicular traffic, because we can still open Main Street to vehicular traffic, right? But giving your downtown back to your citizens, you could increase it between a week and 4 weeks by doing this work and the cost. And so when I think of the design team's opinion matched with or mixed with the steering committee's volunteer meetings where we hammered all this out 2 years ago, we talked about all this and came to a consensus, and then you giving me direction, don't entertain anything that has a cost increase or a time increase, I cannot recommend option B or option C because I see these as risks to your project, okay? From a financial standpoint and a schedule standpoint. And part of what you pay me for is to manage the risk part of your project. So what questions do you have?
Councilmember Parks?
Thank you for that very clear explanation. I have 2 questions. The first one is with the option A, will there be a rat slab under if we use the existing pavers, or is there one? There isn't one now, so will there be one?
Not in the existing Pine Street Plaza. That'll go back as is. But everywhere on Main Street will have a rat slab.
Okay, and then my second question is, are there any other considerations besides what we asked you to abide by, which you did, but are there any other design or safety considerations with extending that plaza out? Are there any other things that we should be aware of, I should say?
I would just, this could be, it's almost like, what's good art? Well, from a functional standpoint, my mind thinks that we have a Main Street facility that's Main Street. It's consistent, it's got all the amenities that we've talked about, and we have a separate but adjacent and directly adjacent Pine Street Plaza, which is very, very common. To me, as a user, if I'm shopping and I'm walking through here, you can look at it one of two ways. One is the plaza has spilled out into Main Street, and that's, in my mind, it doesn't work. It's disjointed. It's protruding into an otherwise uniform facility. Again, I'm acknowledging that there are different opinions, and I get it. I just think the option A is the best design.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wright?
Thank you, Matt. My question revolves around what we've heard throughout the life of the project to date, and that is the scope. And if you could maybe talk a little bit about what these other options do to the scope of the project and how things might change should we go with either of these other two options. Did that make sense?
Yes, I think so. And I think the way the scope changes, the way we'd measure that is in dollars and in days. And that's what I showed. This is the scope change. The way it's put down will be similar. It'll just take quite a bit longer. Installing pavers is it's time consuming, because when you pour concrete, like we plan on doing, concrete's forgiving, right? The ground doesn't need to be perfect because you can finish the top and make it work. It goes down quick. That's why it's quite a bit less expensive. Pavers need a very finely graded subgrade, a dialed in an exact layer of sand, and then a slow construction process. So it takes a lot of time.
Councilmember Guido?
Matt, I just wanted to pick up on something that you said, that you would essentially run out of pavers for these options because that isn't what we originally planned. And you said most likely they'd be different colors.
So the current pavers are concrete pavers. They are whatever they are, 20 years old-ish, and they fade over time, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not very likely to find an exact color match, right? Because the new concrete pavers are going to be pretty vivid. That's why we picked clay pavers for everything else, because they're not going to change color. So yes, your first question is, I don't think we'll have enough existing pavers to do option B or option C, because even the act of removing the pavers, we're going to have some, attrition. So we're going to damage some pavers as they come up out of the ground, okay? And so if we're already short on pavers and we lose some pavers, then we need more new, perhaps a different color paver, which you're not going to be happy with that.
Okay, thank you. And then any issue with safety on the bike path?
The bike path would still be concrete through the paver field. It would not be pavers. Ah. And so I probably didn't show that quite right. So we'd carry the concrete through this area here, no matter what the option is.
Okay, would not become pavers.
No.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Councilmember Delira?
Yeah, I guess going back to the numbers, just reflecting back on the 20K to 30 and now much bigger numbers, what would you say is like the biggest contributor to kind of the difference from the previous evaluation to what we have now?
Frankly, the previous evaluation was, Matt, we need a number like right now. And so I made a couple calls and I undershot that number, and that's my fault. These are by far more accurate.
Councilmember Jalera?
Yeah, and then just kind of to think about timeline on when Pine Street Plaza will be active in terms of construction. When will work on Pine Street Plaza begin in terms of, yeah?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, that's a great question. That'll actually happen towards the very end of the project because we need to wait till the river is low, so late summer. Because we've got remember we have all that stormwater to deal with, so we want the river as low as possible, so we're not dealing with that. You're welcome.
Any other questions? If not, do you have anything else to present to us?
No, sir. I'm here at your disposal.
Okay, with that, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So at this time, we're done the presentations into the consent agenda. The items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion of the City Council without separate discussion. And with that, I'd accept a motion to read the consent agenda by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pat, if you could read the consent agenda, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Item number 1 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks, electronic transfers, and ADP payroll transfers totaling $1,561,804.65. Item 2 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 201-1103 through 201-1167, totaling $437,760.26. Item 3 is resolution number R-25-24, a resolution accepting a public waterline easement granted by Washington State University, authorizing the execution of said easement and providing for other matters properly related thereto. Item 4 is resolution number R-26.24, a resolution accepting a public transportation and public access easement granted by Washington State University, authorizing the execution of said easement and providing for other matters properly related thereto. And finally, resolution R-27-24, a resolution authorizing the mayor or designee to execute the settlement participation form relating to the Janssen Washington statewide opioid settlement agreement dated January 22nd, 2024, authorizing the mayor and finance director to take all actions necessary to effect the purpose of the settlement agreement and all other matters related thereto.
Are there any items that a council member would like to be removed from the consent agenda considered separately? If not, I'd accept a motion for approval of consent agenda items 1 through 5.
So moved.
With that, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next on to the regular agenda. This is a motion authorizing increase of transit service levels. And with that, we have Wayne Thompson, our transit manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. It was just a month ago I was here before you getting authorization for the actual expansion of transit service to the airport. And just a month away, that service will start with the opening of the terminal. As you can see from the data on the screen, the actual driving route hours increased significantly. We'll have the facility open an extra 4 hours a day, which is dispatch time. And with the additional staff, we believe it's time for additional supervisory expansion, so from one operations supervisor to two. What I'm here today to ask for is your support in moving forward with the appropriate staffing levels as I've requested in the packet memo to match this service expansion. This is what I would like our organizational chart to be, our staffing levels. In green, you'll see the changes. We are adding a half-time dispatcher. Just above that, we are going from 2 half-time to 2 3/4 time dispatchers. We would add an operations supervisor, 2 drivers, which we would add those 2 drivers in August. With the reduction in service coming up, the drivers we have will be looking for hours. And then the green line to the far right, I would oversee the bus washing team to help balance out the the oversight from what it currently is. You've seen these numbers before, but I do want to reiterate the funding. The grant funding is there. The numbers are adequate to meet our needs for the staffing, but they are time-bound. The funding is limited to about a year and 2 months. June 2025, the grant funding for the airport will end, so we will need to come up with additional revenue in order to continue the service and the staffing that I'm requesting. So at this point, I am looking for your support with a motion to approve the staffing levels as I've included in the packet memo, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing no questions, and with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve staff request for additional staffing to support the airport expansion service.
Second.
With that, if you could read the motion.
Thank you, yes. Motion authorizing the increase of transit staffing levels necessary for a service expansion to the Pullman Moscow Regional Airport with support of State Rural Mobility Grant, PTD 0624-003.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. With that, I don't believe we any new business to come before. So, Councilmember Weller?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And sorry, I usually would warn you. I sent an email just a second ago to let you know that there was new business.
And that would be part of the public record that would need to be included, so I'm not on my email. So.
Okay, so sent it to Mike also. So the only thing I wanted to mention was this was recently, I had a resident from Ward 2 call me recently regarding, there was a anonymous post.
So what's the new business to come before us? Because it has to be an agenda item.
Oh, an agenda. I'm still getting used to the whole comments versus the new business versus
Because he
the
could have
whole
come in
thing.
comments, so is an agenda,
Okay.
what's the item? Because I need a second in order for us to start the discussion.
Okay, well, that's not exactly what this is. So this
Okay.
is why there's, I'm a little confused.
So Councilmember,
Yeah, I apologize. I just looked, yes, you did send me an email tonight after the meeting had already started. I hadn't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah,
So
no, my bad.
I could have let you know that this would have probably been better under council member comments.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
so we look forward to your councilmember comments
Next time.
at the next meeting.
Okay.
Unless you have an agenda item that you would like to get a second in order to open discussion on.
Okay, well, this is this is kind of challenging because this is a very,
It is, and I'd really like to sit down and have an opportunity to talk to Councilmember Weller offline about it a bit. And then I believe there'll be a discussion coming forward. But yeah, this is a little outside the norm.
Yeah, and part of it is also provide opportunity for staff to be able to research and prepare also response to.
yeah, it's more along the lines letting the citizen know that council has taken note and understands challenge to a community, so,
Okay.
Well said.
okay.
Okay. With that, anything else? If not, I'd move, accept motion for adjournment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.